Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Let's go. Hands up. Hands up. Good. Let's go. Hands up. Boom. Double kick this time. Kick. Oh, hands up. Good. Hi, I'm Joe Lewis. I want to welcome you to this second tape on target practice. What we're doing now is working on the focus mitts. In my personal opinion, of all the targets that we can work with, from focus pads like these two, which you use in boxing, sometimes you have a longer pad which comes all the way down, protects the forearm. So in case your opponent kicks your forearm, you got that protected. You can work speed bags or rhythm bags, which we'll be showing you. My personal favorite, of course, is the double end bag. And of course, the most commonly used target is the heavy bag outside of your sparring partner, of course. I want to show you the basic moves that we've been working on with the first tape, the proper execution of your kicks and your punches doing this particular tape. Again, there's many purposes which targets help you to develop. Primarily, the correct mechanical execution of the techniques in terms of balance, straight lines, curved lines, you're torquing, shifting your weight, whether you're teetering too much, one shoulder's up, one shoulder's down, what we call tilting with the body, tilting too far forward or what have you. Sometimes people do what we call folding, where you bend from the waistline. This is called folding. Sometimes they fold too much without bending the knees. You got to learn to bend your knees when you're hitting these targets to get the right kind of leverage. I'll be showing you how to do that as we play along. Again, if you don't have these particular items at your disposal for use, try to attain them. I would start first of all with a heavy bag of some type, and I'll explain that later, the best type of heavy bag to work with. Now, number one, when you're working with focus pads, you want to try to stand as much like a fighter as you can. So some people stand with the hands out like this, and you swing one punch over here and one punch over here, and you come downstairs for the kicks. I like to stand pretty much like a fighter with the hands up as if I was actually boxing or kickboxing. And then from here, to receive a straight punch, I'll hold this hand back this way. To receive a curve line, I'll hold it this way, or the hands will be down. Now, first of all, let me start off with Jim West over here. Jim West is a kickboxing trainer from the Fort Bragg, North Carolina area. Again, we're here at the Wilmington Boxing Center. We're here in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's been my home for the last 5 years, where I work very closely with the boxing coach here, Sheridan Morgan. He's got years and years, actually decades of boxing. He'll be working with us a little bit later in this particular tape. Now, going back to the first tape where you learn how to work a jab. Now, what I want to start off first of all is you hold the hand out like this, and your partner's going to step in and fire a straight line jab. In and out, boom, back reposition. In and out again, back reposition. Now, anytime a person fires a punch off the front hand, the lead hand, we call these odd numbers. So, for example, the jab would be what we call a number 1. If he throws a punch off the rear hand, okay, fire right hand cross, that would be what we call the number 2. That's where your even numbers come from. So, in other words, your even numbers will be the 1, such as a jab, the hook, which is a 3, okay, all right, an uppercut here, a hook to the lower side, which would be a 5. Right hand, your even number, straight right hand is a 2. Uppercut would be a 4. Some coaches, the double up right hand would be a 2, 4. And then, of course, your hook to the rear side off your rear hand is what we call a 6. So let's work these combinations. Instead over this side. Position. So if I say 1, he'll step in with 1. If I say 2, he'll step in with the rear hand. If I say 3, he comes back to hook. If I say 4, he comes in with an uppercut. Okay, 5 would come an uppercut here, or a 5 would be a hook to the rear side, a 6 would be a hook to this side. Got me? Now you don't have to miss the pad and hit my ribs there, okay? I like hitting people back, so I might get a chance on this particular tape. Okay, position again. Most importantly, let's go back to what I call the supreme combination in boxing, which would be the jab right cross. And we start off working with that. What I like to do in the very beginning, back up a little bit, I just stand completely stationary. I hold the pad up. I'm spotting my opponent. All right, and I say 1, 2, step in 1, 2, go. 1, 2, back reposition. Now, if I don't like his jab, I'll leave the the right cross off, and I just concentrate strictly on the jab. All right, step in with the jab, go. Boom. Dragging the rear foot just a little bit. Let's try it again. Fire. All right, try to keep a little bit more of the weight on the rear leg. So when you finish the jab, you can shift the weight forward as you come through the right hand. Step in, fire, boom. All right, double jab this time. Ready? 1-1. Back reposition. Then you try to teach people to cover a course. Now, after he finishes the jab, make sure he's covering his head. So after he jabs, fire, boom, I come back, pop the top of his head. Now, I'm not blasting. I'm hitting up here near the hairline. Basically, that's the thickest part of the skull, so you're not going to really hurt somebody. And when you hit, don't hit with the edge of this focus pad. Try to hit more with the top. So I'll be hitting straight here, straight to the side, straight to the side. Sometimes I'll come underneath the rib to make sure he's covered. So the trainer holding these pads, keep this in mind. Look at my shoulder. Try not to hold the hand out to the side. Watch it. Try not to hold out to the side like this. If he hits it too hard, he's going to hyperextend these tendons down here, and you got a bad arm. Try to keep that shoulder behind the pad as much as possible so it takes some of the sting off the punch. Okay? Now, I just want you to move around and work the jab. Sometimes a coach will do this. He'll hold the focus pad against the chest, and as soon as I stick the hand out like that, you fire the jab. Ready? Boom, boom. Move with me, move with me. Boom. All right, double jab now, double jab. Yeah, double jab. Some coaches will do this. When they want you to punch, you just wiggle the pad like that, wiggle the pad like that, wiggle. As soon as I wiggle the pad, you fire. Ready? That's your cue to squeeze the trigger. All right, double up this time. Double up. So depending on whichever method you want, stick the pad out, wiggle it, or call the numbers. After you work with a coach for a couple of weeks, you don't have to give any kind of a signal. The student knows how to do it arbitrarily. It becomes automatized. And all you do is just move around and he knows what to do. All right, go for it. He picks his own combinations. If he leaves himself open, he gets popped. Come on in with a hook. Jab hook, let's go. Jab hook, let's go. All right, back reposition. Now watch, I'll put the combinations for you very simply. Watch how they work. Face me on this angle, Jeff West. Jim West, position on this angle, please. Double jab, right reposition. Jab, right cross, right reposition. Okay. Double jab, right cross, right reposition. Now try not to get too close to the pad where you're starting to smother your own punch. You want to hit that right hand on the very end of that pad. Keep that in mind now. Okay, now I want you to go jab, right cross, back with a jab. Okay, 1, 2, 1, go. Back reposition. 1, 2, 1, 2. Fire. Back reposition. Don't rush it now. Boom, 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 boom. Take your time. 1. Back reposition. They're learning to hook off the jab. So now we're going to jab, shift the weight, come back with the hook. Let's do it in slow motion once. All right. I want you to play more with this angle here. All right. Watch it. Step in with the jab, cock, shift the weight, now hook. Back reposition. Right. Jab, shift the weight, hook, boom. Looking good. All right, real fast. Fire. Boom, boom. Good. Back reposition. Fire. Boom, boom. Let's move around a little bit. Come on, move around a little bit. 1, 2. All right. 1, 3. Let's go. Jab, hook. 1, 3. All right. Dragging the rear leg a little bit. Come on. Fire. Fire. Good. Let's go. Fire. Starting to push the jab a little bit. Notice when you're working with someone now, you don't want to push that punch. The jab should have very little effort behind it. Mainly it's used, you want to think about the intent of it. The weight of the hand now, keep this in mind, the weight of the fist is all it takes to drop somebody if you hit them just right. Watch these little nerve centers that you want to pop when you're swinging at somebody. If I can use my free finger here. One's the tip of the chin. A second one's right back here about center way of the jaw. Okay. Another one's right above the eyelid, right on the eyelid almost. Got a nerve center here. Then you've got the temple. Then you've got behind the ear. From this perennial nerve, these facial nerves coming off the head, this whole sinus region right in here, this vagus nerve back in here. Anywhere in here behind the ear you pop him, your opponent's going to go down. Then of course if you hit him real hard, you can hit just about any part of the head and he'll go down. But those are the main key nerve centers. If you can pinpoint them, they'll work for you. Okay, Jim, you take a break there for a second. Let me bring my next partner out here, Alan Branch from the American Kickboxing Association up in Greensboro, North Carolina. He's kind of new at this game a little bit. He's mainly a derivative of the what we call the tough man contest or the bad man contest, which a lot of you people out there watching this tape should benefit greatly from, because some of these combinations I'm showing you here are the exact combinations that you need to knock somebody out in one of those contests. All right, position against me. Now, of course, we can go uppercut. Now, what I want you to do is, when you fire an uppercut with the right hand, that would be a 4. All right, give me a 4, come right back with a hook, which would be a 3. All right, a 4-3. That's a great, great combination to drop somebody. A lot of times what I want to do is get the person up against the ropes. Come here. All right, watch my microphone. Get me up against the ropes. Then you take a half step back and go up and over. That's called up and over. That's a fabulous, fabulous combination. Face me out here again. Another good combination would be a straight 2, back with a 3. All right, 1, 2. That's another good combination. Or you can reverse it. You can go 3, then come back with a 2. 1, 2. So a lot of times I'll be in the clinch. I'll be in the clinch like this. I'll bump my opponents. I'll bump him like sort of shove with the shoulder. As I shove with the shoulder, I take a little half step back, and then I come up and over. Okay? Or I'll bump him. I'll come up and over this way. Or I'll bump him. I'll step back, straight right, right back with a left hook. Or I'll be in the clinch, and I'll bump. I'll go hook first, then back with the right cross. So you can work those combinations in tight. Come in here tight, please. Okay? When you step back and come up and over, okay? Back up, half step back, up and over. Boom, good. A little tighter with that hook. You're coming out a little wide, okay? In tight, back, up and over. Boom, boom. All right, again, real fast. 1, 2, 1, 2, good. That's the way I like it. Switch places. Sometimes I'll be in the clinch. I'll step back. This time you step back, why don't you give me a straight right, then back with this. Okay, let's go. Ready? Half step back, go. All right, a little faster. Ready? Go. Good. There we go. Try to pick a 2-punch combination which feels comfortable for your particular style and your physical attributes. Try not to get fancy here in the beginning, whether you're shadow fighting, hitting these pads, or a heavy bag. Yes, ultimately you want to be able to punch in 3s and 4s. Like that's a 4-point combination. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 points. Or 1, 2, 3. A 3-point combination. Too often when we're out of shape, we're up against a superior opponent, our confidence is a little lagging, we come out and we see boxers or kickboxers doing this. They throw punches in 1s and 2s. 1s and 2s. That's a sign of a person who's not really ready to be out there and get in the ring. Okay? Now, another thing we can do with these pads is, let me go back and work with Jim here for a second. Jimbo, I can start getting into a little footwork. So for example, face me on this angle. Last tape we talked about fire, cover, maneuver. I want you to step in with a 1, 2. Now he's covered. Now I'm going to counter. I'm going to come back and touch your head. What I want you to slip it to the side. Slip it to the side. All right, now as I come back with a hook here, circle under it. Circle under it. Good. Back reposition. Okay, watch him. Fire. Okay, he slips. He slides under it. Back with the right hand. Boom. Back reposition. So in other words, he's learning to fire, cover, then he's learning maneuver. Slipping or circling. Now in kickboxing, you don't want to weave a lot like they do in boxing, where you're weaving on this way. If you weave under here, notice what's happening. You're squashing your rib cage, so it's harder to breathe this way. All right. Number 2, your shoulders are not directly over your legs, so you don't have as much power. When you go down, you want to sit straight down, like your butt goes straight down to the floor. Therefore, you're not off balance for someone to dive at your legs or to execute a punch. All right? But the main thing is when you circle into this way, what they call weaving, you're putting your knee right in place. Even if he's not kneeing me in the face, if he started to come up through a front kick, All right, notice the knee comes straight up to my face before the kick goes off. So we don't want to fold. This is called folding from the midsection. You want the circle, bend the knees and circle. And when you do that, watch my shoulders. Keep the shoulders as level as possible. See as I'm going down, down, circle, circle. Try not to teeter. Try not to tilt or fold, okay? So now he's starting to learn to move the body as I execute the counter. Now this time I want you to step in, Jim. As you finish the 1-2 combination, I want you to slide step over, okay? Step in, fire, 1-2, slide step over, and he misses the counter punch. Watch it from this angle. Face me over here. Watch what's happening. Now you do the same thing against a double end bag or a heavy bag, and especially against an opponent. If I'm bigger than you are, I'm faster than you are, I'm a good counter puncher. All right, when you step into fire, step in, fire, 1-2, stops. Now notice he's straight in front of my line of fire. You must yield the right of way at this time. So what he wants to do is he wants to break ground. He does a quick little counter step. That's a little too much of a counter step. Move it over about 2 feet. Just enough to throw my punch off. I may still hit you, but if you throw my alignment off by about 5 to 10 degrees, you take away 20–30% of my power. There's no sting on the end of my punch. So even if I hit you, you're not going to be knocked down or knocked out from it. All right, now this time what I want you to do, step in with a 1-2 combination. 1-2, and a quick slide step over, okay? Let's go, fire. 2, quick slide step over. Good, back reposition. Fire again, 1-2. You're still pulling your hands back a little bit too low. Step in, fire, keep the hands high, slide over real fast. All right, fire, boom, boom. Good. And that's pretty good timing on that slide step. Make sure you don't fire before you finish your punch, you're already moving. Also, when you finish firing, after you fire, all right, make sure you finish your punch before you move. Don't make it too late. So in other words, you fire, you pause, and then you move. As soon as you pause, that's enough time for your opponent to nail you with a counter punch or a counter kick, or grab you, hit you with a knee, or some kind of a takedown. Okay? Now, what I'm going to go into next here is adding a couple kicks to these particular kicking drills, or combinations. Face me over here, Jim, on this little angle. Back it up a little bit. Now with a kick, watch. I could use the kick to neutralize his position. I could use the kick to measure the distance to set up a punching combination. I could use the kick to help me penetrate his defensive perimeter to set up the hand combination. So for example, back it up a little bit more. Now come in easy until you sort of feel your trainer where he's at. Now when you're working these kicks, bend your knees, fold your hips, slide forward, get your pads in here. He's coming a rear leg front kick, or he can come in with a front leg front kick. And from here, step in 1-2 on the punch. Okay, 1-2. Back reposition. He comes in front kick off front leg, step in 1-2, step back out. And as he steps back out, I want you to throw a tie kick up here with the rear leg. Boom, there you go, back reposition. Now, of course, you coaches, when you hold those pads up there for those kicks, make sure you don't make the mistake I just made. You got to keep those arms tight, because if he hits the tip of that glove, he's going to fold it over and it's going to come back and pop you on the nose, the eye, or what have you. You get hurt just as much behind these pads as you can in front of a kick or a punch. All right, let's try that combination again. Watch it. What I'm trying to show you here is how to take your punching combinations and put them together with a kick, maybe your favorite kick. So what it's adding up to is how to put your kicking and punches together and in a kickboxing combination. All right, let's go. Kick, double punch, step back, tie kick. Boom. All right, a little hard on that round kick. Okay, let's go. Boom. Boom. 1-2. Boom. There we go. A little hard on the round kick. Let's try it again. Ready? Boom. Boom. 1-2. Boom. There you go. Now try not to rush it. Now what's happening a lot of times is after you finish the kick, you're trying to get the punch and the kick in there a little bit too fast, and it's what we call rushing it. There's such a thing as rhythm when you're punching, rhythm when you're kicking, or putting the two together. So you're not trying to go real fast. Take your time. Ba-boom, boom. There's a rhythm. Ba-boom, boom. Find the rhythm. So there's a kick. Boom, ba-boom, set, boom, kick. Try to remember that when you're creating your own combinations or your own favorite combinations. I'm not going to take time with this particular tape to run you through dozens of different types of favorite combinations of mine, or one that you can utilize. Keep this in mind. Take your favorite kick, whether it's a side kick, round kick, or hook kick. Use it to open up your opponent to follow through your favorite high-end combination. Make sure you fire, cover, maneuver, pull back out, finish off with a kick. When I pull out after a kick, Watch it. When I pull out after kick, I love to finish off with a leg kick. It's a good way of sending my opponent home to mommy early. And again, it's a good way to sort of finish the fight. Now what I want to do next is I want to cut to using the proper targets for developing what we call the Thai kick, or in Burmese boxing we call it a bull kick. All right, it's coming right up. Okay. Okay, what I'm working now is what we call a Thai kick, Thai, which is short for Thailand. It's a maneuver that they use in Thai boxing. Also in the Burmese boxing, they call it a bull kick. The idea is I'm kicking with the shin bone, the front part of the shin bone. I'm hitting the side of my opponent's leg. When I hit, I don't want to necessarily come straight in. It's like throwing a body punch. I don't want it to come straight in a lot of times. I want it to twist in, create more of a concussive, penetrating type blow. I can cut up on an angle or I can cut down. If I'm hitting the outside of his leg, I'm hitting this cutaneous femoral nerve here, which is a good way to drop him to his knees. It's like somebody taking a bunch of needles and just ramming it right into the side of your leg. If I hit the lower part of his leg down here, the tibia, the fibular bone, it's very easy to break those bones. The idea is I'm folding the knee up. As I'm folding the knee up, I'll be showing you this against a heavy bag a little later. As I fold the knee up, I want to torque the hip. As I'm torquing the hip, notice I'm covering my head with the rear hand. I do not want to snap the foot back like a karate kick. There's no real power in that. I want to turn the hip all the way into it. So from here, the hip goes first before the knee, and then you drive it. From here, hip first, drive the shin bone. As I'm making contact, I make contact with the leg bent about this angle. Notice my hip is behind my knee. In reality, I'm arching the back right at the point of contact to get the maximum power into this particular kick. By arching that back right at the point of contact, you can get about 30-35% more power in that kick than you can if you're doing it with a karate kick. Now what I want to do is, let me use Jim West here. Alan, can you drag that bag off? And I want to take, these are called Thai pads. Sign the forearm in here. Make sure when you hold this, you hold that out there tight so when it hits that, it doesn't snap back and your own knuckle nails you. Use 2 of these. I'm holding them out just as if I were doing a block. If I'm blocking with the leg, the low kick, I got the hands up here. I don't want them too low. He'll come over the top. I don't want him too high where he comes underneath. Now when you kick, I want you to concentrate on rolling the hip, rolling the hip. So right at the point of contact, watch my hip. Hip goes out in front of the kneecap. And just as you make contact, arch that back to get the power. Let's just warm up a couple now. So the coach will stand like this, kind of in a fighting stance. You hold the 2 pads, bring them to the side, lock the arms. Okay, now notice I've got the pads on a slight angle, not vertical, not horizontal, but on a slight angle. Drill it in here. Boom, back reposition. Okay, throw a little more weight behind it. Boom. Roll the hip a little bit more, come on. Boom. More up on this angle now. Face me from there. Now watch him roll the hips in there. Dig it. Dig it. Try to drive me back. Dig. There we go. Now that was a good one because he got the weight behind it, but what I need is a little more of the hip. Watch this. See the hip? As you make contact, I want the hip pointing straight up to the ceiling at 12 o'clock. See? Roll it over and arch it back. There we go. Let's try one more. All right, dig it. You do this every day for about an hour. Best conditioning I can think of. Developing this rectus femoris muscle back here, this internal external oblique, these serratus muscles up on your side, and you're definitely not going to get fat. Builds phenomenal endurance. By doing drills like this, you don't need to jump rope or go out and run miles and what have you. All right, the next thing I want to do is I want to go to the double end bag. It's one of my favorite bags to work with so far, showing you speed, timing, rhythm, range finding, and again, giving you that sense of purpose that's most important. All right, what I'm picking up on now is my favorite little booger here, the double end bag. It's got two different ends on it. I want you to first pay attention to how it's set up. I start off with a small bag because you see a lot of people working these real big double end bags, and no one's head is that big. I try to get a real small bag because the smaller one is harder to hit. I go and I get a nylon cord and attach the upper part because I don't want the bag to come down at all. I go to a hardware store and I get two tie downs for the bottom part. Two tie downs. These are 18 to 21 inch tie downs. Put two of them in there. Put the tape on the loops here so that the hooks don't slice your gloves or slice your forearm. Sometimes you get tired, sluggish, you throw a sloppy punch and your forearm slides in there and you get it sliced. So tape it up and tie the string down so it doesn't flare out a lot. And a lot of people take the air out of the balloon part inside so it doesn't burst overnight. Notice when the bag moves, it doesn't move any further or any farther than a person's head. It moves about maybe 8 inches at the very most. And it's about the same as a person's head's going to be moving when he's actually fighting you. You do not want one of these real springy bags that goes wong, wong, back and forth like that. It's improperly set up. This bag's a little low for me, but it's the one we kind of set up here at the gym. Normally when you're in a fighting stance, you want that bag almost head high or straight out in front of your shoulder. So this one's about 2-3 inches, a little bit too low for me. Now to begin with, what you want to do is concentrate on the footwork. To me, range finding and the in and out motion is of most importance here on this particular target. So watch my footwork. The idea is I don't want to move more than about 4 or 6 inches as I step in to hit the bag. In 6 inches, back out. So you want to get in and out real fast, in and out real fast, in and out real fast. Learning how to penetrate real fast and how to clear before your opponent can answer your attack. It's a good way to work on your footwork speed, of course your timing, range, rhythm, and what have you, but also working on your defensive posture. So in other words, after I fire, I want to cover and I want to learn to maneuver a little bit. I can maneuver my head side to side or I can slide step. Now some of my favorite combinations off this bag are getting your timing down, a little double jab, just sort of in 1, 2, a little double jab, 1, 2. Kind of easy like I'm doing now to feel the rhythm. Then once you've got the rhythm down and the timing down, then try to straighten that arm all the way out on each jab like I showed you in the first tape. Say, boom, boom, straighten it out. Boom, boom, straighten it out. Boom, boom, straighten it all the way out. Then start coming through with your right hand. Jab straight, follow through the straight right hand off the rear side. So from here, get the jab down, in and out on the jab, then the 1, 2 on the right hand. Get the jab down, jab down. Notice I'm keeping a good defensive posture after I punch. Then the 1, 2, then the 1, 2, then the 1, 2. All right, now, after you get that down, start playing with another combination. Try to jab, hook off the jab. Jab, uppercut off the jab. Watch it. Jab, hook. Jab, uppercut. Jab, hook back with the right hand. And it gets more and more complicated as you go along. The idea is I want the change up after each combination. So I fire, change up a little bit, fire, change up a little bit, fire, change up, change up. Keep playing the angles so I'm not always in front of my opponent, especially if he's bigger, stronger, faster than I am, or he's good at countering or answering my attack. I want to pop him, couple of them, move out of it. Pop him, move out. Pop him, move out. All right. Then you can come in and start doing some inside work. So for example, I'm in at short range. That means I can touch the bag with the elbows. Uppercuts, uppercuts, short hooks. Uppercuts, uppercuts, short hook. Uppercuts, uppercuts, short hooks. Up, 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 boom, 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 boom. That type of motion on the inside. So you go from the outside to the inside. And back out. Outside, 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 then back inside and change up. Outside, 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 back inside again. I like to work the bag when the arms are tired from sparring, hitting heavy bag. I usually finish my work off with this particular bag. When the arms are tired, it forces you, when the muscles are tired, fatigued, the arms and hands are getting kind of heavy, to still put the snap into the punches. And what I'm talking about snap here is that little whip-like action with the hand, or the whole arm, to have that type of motion. This is a nice little tool. It's inexpensive. Make sure again when you hang it, the top part, you don't hang it too high up where you don't have easy access to it. This particular one, if I want to take it home, I can unhook the top, or I can go down to the bottom real fast, unhook it here, let it hang overnight, or I'll go back up to the top. I just put a little latch like this on the top. I throw it in my workout bag. I don't have to worry about other people coming along, hitting it with baseball bats or kicking it with their shoes on. All right, excellent tool. There's no one particular product I recommend, but I do recommend you using this double end bag. Let's go to the heavy bag next. Okay, now I want to introduce you to proper heavy bag work. This is an item, piece of equipment I think you can find in every boxing gym, just about every karate school. First of all, I want you to take notice how the bag is hung. If we can zero the camera in there. Number one, if I'm in a fighting stance, we primarily want the bottom of the bag pretty much waist level. Got me? You don't want it any lower or anything. This is what we call an 80-pound heavy bag. It's a good piece of equipment because the bottom of the bag is relatively firm but not brick hard, and it's made well. As you can tell, the bag stays pretty much the same density upstairs as it does downstairs. You can tell a cheap bag because they get real hard downstairs, it gets real sloppy upstairs. Look up here at the top, you see the vinyl piece. It goes up and over the top of the bag, whereas a lot of them, they have the loop down low where the chain comes all the way down across the bag, and where the chain crosses the bag, it wears a hole in it. If we can zero the camera in, I want you to notice how high the actual chain of the bag is. It's not so high where the bag takes a long time to swing out and back. If I hit this bag, it comes back relatively fast. Notice the A-frame type welding we have up on the wall. It's one of the better hung gyms that we have here at the Wilmington Boxing Center. This is one of Coach Sherdell Morgan's designs. If you can just keep this in mind, how far the bag is away from the wall. If you swing it, notice it misses the wall pretty much. Okay, and there's nothing around us where you're going to be banging it. Basically, against this heavy bag, we're going to have to learn how to move with it. If the bag is swinging towards me and away from me in this direction, your body has to stay with the bag, just like a dance partner. Notice the footwork going in, the footwork coming back. If the bag were swinging sideways from side to side, and opponents move this way, side to side, the idea here is I'm stepping with the bag, side step, oh, hit, side step, oh, boom, hit. You can work the counter punches or your lead off punches as such. If the bag were spinning in a circle, here you work more of a circular type footwork. As I'm sort of spinning with the bag, notice I'm keeping the same distance at all times. Forward, to the right, to the left, forward, to the right, back. Or if the bag were swinging counterclockwise, okay? In other words, this teaches you your lateral motion against different types of opponents. Heavy bag's a good piece of equipment for a lot of reasons. Number one, I think it's best that it develops power. It teaches you good mechanical form in your punches. When you hit the punch, when you land the first punch, you can tell from the first punch if you're off balance. And if it makes it impossible, you come back with a follow-up punch. So it teaches you balance. It teaches you range. Of course, it teaches you power. It teaches you good, proper mechanical execution. And of course, going from one punch to the next without losing your balance and maintaining a sense of fluidness, it develops a thing called coordination. And then ultimately, it gives you that inner sense of purpose, which is what we call confidence, learning to put some teeth into your techniques. And you can tell when you hit a bag what kind of definition you got in that punch. Or you're just hitting the person and let them know, you know, you're fast, see? Or you're throwing that punch in there like maybe this person maybe just had attempted to rape your mother or something. I mean, how would you hit that person? Put some emotional life behind that technique. And although a bag doesn't hit back, it does talk back to you. It's got a little silent conversation going on with you at all times. You're getting tired, ready or not, I'm not going to quit. And it's a good sparring partner in that respect. To work with me here today, I want to use my favorite coach of all time, Coach Sherdor Morgan, who's head of the State Athletic Boxing Commission here in the state of North Carolina. He's an excellent boxing coach. He's got about 4 or 5 decades of boxing experience. And the good thing about him, he's originally a southpaw, so he's a good switch hitter, and he's really good with working with kids and improving the community here with the problem kids. Now, Coach, when I hold the bag, we'll start off with some of the things we do here in the very beginning. Number one, we want to learn how to work a jab. Now, of course, I extend the hand out. I want to make sure I'm about 4 to 6 inches from the back. So when I throw the jab, I don't want to overextend my forward motion where I'm ending up lunging or reaching. It ends up telegraphing my technique. I want a little short step, about 4 or 6 inches, step in, fire the punch straight. Make sure, just like in the beginning of tape 1 on this 2-part tape series on target practice, make sure the jab comes out straight. And here is where you tell if you're punching correctly. When you hit that bag, watch my elbow. Boom! Notice my elbow was bent right at the point of contact. It did not straighten out. That's an incorrect punch. You want to make sure when you hit that bag, boom, the punch is straight. Boom, the punch is straight. Notice I'm not concerning myself with how hard I'm hitting that bag. If you hit the guy with a jab or any part of his face, he's going to close his eyes. He's going to blink. He's going to freeze for a split second. Gives you plenty of time to follow through with a power punch. So try not to get in a habit just because you're hitting something that gives you a tremendous amount of resistance here, the heavy bag. Try not to get in the habit of pushing the punch, hitting and pushing it a little bit. Snap it, like you're slapping the air. Slap it. Just try to touch it, touch it, touch it. Then dig it in a little bit. Boom, dig it in a little bit. Boom, dig it in a little bit. Boom, dig it in a little bit. That's what I mean by the snap of the punch. Don't get physical with this bag. You're never going to beat it. Okay. Now, after you learn a single jab, we try to go from that point into a double jab. Try to get in and out. 1, 2, back out. 1, 2, back out. Notice, please, when I'm jabbing, that I keep my right hand up. You can tell a student that's punching properly just by looking at his gloves. Now, these gloves are less than 6 months old. Now, look at my right thumb on this glove. See how it's worn? And what that tells you is, there's a little comment we got in the boxing game. It's called double touch. That means whenever one hand is touching your opponent, the target, your other hand is touching your head. It's that simple. Touch, touch, touch. Got me? Keep that in mind. And you can look at your gloves and you can tell that hand is always, that thumb is always digging right in my cheek, right up on my temple. I'll keep it in front a little bit if the guy's got a good counter right hand. I'll keep it back a little bit if he's got a good counter hook. Make sense? Do not keep the hands down. If you practice hitting the bag with your gloves in front of your chin, and you start sparring, and you start getting tired, and you've been practicing here, you know where your hands are going to end up when you get tired? They're going to end up here. So I like to practice here. Keep in mind what my coach teaches me. Whenever you fire at the bag, you have what we call a line of power. Notice that the glove is straight in front of my shoulder. I'm not punching up, I'm not punching down, inside or outside. That decreases my power when I go out of that line of power. Does that make sense? So when I'm sitting down on a punch or not, the punch is always straight in front of the shoulder. If you're trying to push a house down, you will not push a house with the elbows bent. You would not keep the hands up or down. You put those hands straight in front of your shoulders, you would lock those arms out and you push with your legs. Exact same phenomenon here when you're hitting the heavy bag. You want the arm straight at the point of contact, and I want to use the ankles as much as I can. Right at the point of contact, I shift that weight with the leg. Boom, shift that weight. Boom, shift that weight. Boom, shift that weight. That's where the power comes from. And it takes years to learn that. You can't pick it up in a couple of months. You definitely can't pick it up in a couple of weeks. These punches are a lot harder to learn than karate punches. I started boxing way back in 1968. And so I've been at it a number of years, and I'm still working on my basics. Remember, what makes a great fighter is not some fancy, cute combination, not how fast he is or how hard he is. The name of the game is what makes a great fighter is how incredible are his basics. So stick with the basics, especially against this bag here, because you can develop too many bad habits like bent elbow punches, dropping one hand when you throw the other hand out to hit, okay, not moving after you fire, standing straight in front of the bag the whole time instead of trying to learn how to maneuver. So let's play around with some of these basics. Now, if I want to play behind the jab with the right cross, some people got good right hands behind the jab, other people have good left hooks. Now watch the right hand. As I'm firing, notice the hand is straight as I make contact. I pull the right hand back, immediately covering the head. Jabbing, got the weight back on the rear leg, shift the weight forward for the power with the right hand. Do you see the weight shift? Watch it again. Jab, see the weight back on the rear leg? Then I shift the weight forward to get the leverage on the right hand. Without that weight shift, without the torquing of this hip, see the hip torquing? Right in the point, sometimes I'll sit down a couple inches. That's where I get my power from. Now, after you fire, make sure you cover, and then you want to practice maneuvering a little bit. So watch. Fire, cover, maneuver, slip, slip. Sometimes a coach working here after I fire, if I drop my right hand, he'll step out and slap me with that hand, step out and pop me. Got me? Just to let me know this hand is too low. Does that make sense? Okay, now, just watch it a little bit. Jabbing, double jabbing, in and out, right hand, back out. So I'm getting the in and out. Now, if I'm not going in and out, in and out, in and out real fast, if I stay in, then I want to make sure I move before I pull out. But do not get in a habit of going in with bent arms. Then if you go in with bent arms, when you're firing outside punches, fire and stop. If he's faster than you are, if he's more experienced than you are, you're going to get hurt right here. Try to learn to maneuver by pulling out real fast, get in and out real fast. Try to maneuver by slipping to this side. Notice I'm bending the knee. Bend the knee. Don't tilt the shoulder. Bend the knee, bend the knee. Then you can learn to circle a little bit in here. I don't want to get too sophisticated here. Next, what I work on is how to work a little slide step. Watch it. Fire. From here, slide over. Now from here, I can slide back, jab out, or after I fire, I can slide over here, fire again, back out, and then jab out. I try to always finish a combination with a straight line technique. It's okay to finish a combination with a curved line and stop. It's okay to finish a combination with a curved line, so like the left hook to stop. But you always want to try to finish with a straight line. Put the distance, the obstruction between you and your opponent, so he can't answer your attack. That's why a lot of coaches or teachers, after you work your combination, jab out. Or after you work the combination, slide over, finish with a straight technique, so he can't follow you through the door. We call that principle closing the door behind you. Okay, so when you finish a combination, close the door behind you, so when you walk away, he doesn't follow you through the door. Can you remember that? Now, Coach and I are going to switch sides, and I'll have to play around with the left hook a little bit, okay? Let's switch sides. Okay. Now, my favorite punch is a liver shot. I find that anybody can hit you in the head and knock you out. To me, a real fighter, a real man, is somebody that can hit you in the stomach and drop you. Got me? Now, the left hook, watch it please, from this angle, coming off the jab just to kind of get it down. Jabbing, stepping in as a jab. Notice when I'm jabbing, do not drag the rear foot. Try to watch my rear foot now if you can. Notice I'm dragging the rear foot. By dragging that rear foot, it puts me out of range for the right hand or the hook. So when I jab, bring the right foot up. Watch again. jab, bring the rear foot up. Now watch, as I bring the rear foot up, I shift the weight. Now watch the mechanics of this hook here. I'll try to explain it in explicit detail so you've got it down. Number one, when I hook, do not punch with the arm. Watch my arm. See my arm is moving independently of the rest of my body? Do not try to turn the shoulder. See my shoulder's turning like that? Don't punch with the arm, don't punch with the shoulder. Try to punch with your hips. If you punch it with your hips, notice now, watch. See the weight of my body's on my front leg? I start with the weight on the heel. See the weight is concentrated on my heel. Now watch it please. I roll the body weight to the ball of the foot. Watch it go to the ball of the foot. I go to the ball of the foot. I dig in with those toes. Dig in with the toes. See the weight's on the toes now. As I start to pivot, watch the hips. See the hips are turning? See the hips are turning? That's the motion I want. Now watch it again. I step in, jab, shift the weight to the heel of my foot. Then as I start to hook, watch it please. I roll the body weight to the ball of the foot, dig in with the toes, turn the hip. As I turn the hip, notice the shoulders and the fists go with it. Now watch. I am not pivoting on the foot on this particular hook. Watch it. I step in, watch the weight shift, turn the body. Okay, watch it again. Turn the body. Now please note, as I'm turning the body, watch where my right hand is. See, my right hand is shielding me. One of the best ways of answering a hook, one of the best counters to the hook, one of the best ways to neutralize a hook is with another hook. Got me? So when you fire that hook, don't leave yourself over here wide open for a counter hook. Now watch it again. Basically, let's leave the jab off. Step in, shift the weight toward the body hook, boom. Sometimes when you hook, you'll hook like I just did. Watch it again. As I hook, I'll pivot. As I pivot, watch my body weight. Notice my weight's on my front foot. As I pivot, notice my rear heel is up slightly. I sit down on that rear heel, like sitting straight down in the chair. As I sit down, boom, drive that in. That's a power hook. A speed hook, I just torque, but I'm not pivoting much. Now if I'm working a double hook, when you work the double hook, I want the palm up. Not the thumb up. The thumb's up, you hit your opponent's elbow, slide in there, kiss your thumb goodbye. The palm is up on the first one, okay? Then when you bring it upstairs, keep your outside knuckles on the perimeter of a circle, a make-believe circle. Turn the hook all the way around. Just as you reach the apex of the circle, which is your opponent's chin, you turn the fist over and follow through. Can you remember that? Sometimes when you're hitting a heavy bag, instead of keeping that wrist straight, watch as you bend your wrist towards you a little bit. Because sometimes you reach out, you bend the wrist in a little bit, it keeps you from springing your wrist. Sometimes when you hook, of course, you always want to keep that forearm about a 90-degree angle. You don't want to extend it. Now if I'm working a double hook, watch it. I step in, I sit down. Of course, I'm keeping the hands up. I'm dropping the left hand so you can see my face. Now watch, the arm does not move. See my arm moving? I do not want the arm to move. All that moves is the body, just the body. See? Boom, body, boom, body. Downstairs, boom, back upstairs. Got me? Downstairs, back upstairs, boom, back with the right hand. See the leverage? Watch the body weight shift. Weights on the front leg, back to the rear leg, back to the front leg. See the weight shifting? That's where you get your power. And of course, when you work uppercuts against a heavy bag, you can simulate them, or when the bag is swinging out, let the bag go just for a second, Coach. As the bag is swinging out, I'll catch it from here. All right? Now, let me move around with the bag just a little bit, what I call freelancing with the bag. Coach, let me just work it without you holding it this time, just to give them an idea how I want you to move. Okay, watch it for a few seconds. First, I come out, kind of warm up with the jab. Not hitting real hard, not even going full speed yet. So to get the timing, sense of rhythm down. Then start firing a hook in there. Maybe a body shot. See, maybe coming out of side, back out of side, change up. Fire, change up. Fire, change up. Boom, watch your foot slide. Watch your foot slide, 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 hit, slide back, hit, slide over, hit, slide back. Now watch that footwork. Hit, slide over, boom, slide back, boom, slide back, slide over, boom, duck under, And of course, try to keep your hands up at all times. This heavy bag can teach you just as much about defense as it can offense. Sometimes you're not in the mood. You come out there, hit that bag, you get that neck stiffed up, and then you're ready to go. I work a lot of my favorite combinations against this thing, such as I'll be in a clinch, take a half step out, hit the downstairs, boom, back upstairs. One of my favorite combinations. And you can talk to this bag all day long, and he'll be there listening to you. I want to show you one last drill here which you can use to build up stamina. All right. Alan, face the bag. What we do here is 3 minutes, rest a minute. 2 minutes, rest a minute, finish off 1 minute. I'm just going to give you an example here for your homework. You're going to start upstairs. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Back downstairs, palms up. 1, 2, 1, 2. Make sure you punch with your body. Body, 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 body. Okay? All right, let's try it. Upstairs, go. Harder. Downstairs. Punch your arm, punch with the body. Put the hips in there. Slow it down, punch with the hips. Upstairs. Punch with the body. Too much arm, punch with the body. Downstairs. Hard, hard. You're tapping, come on, tap it. Hard, come on, come on. Hard, come on, come on. All right, break time. One of the best ways to tell if you're in shape or not, you come out against this heavy bag, you got 3-minute rounds. You keep that angle of the bag like that for 2 minutes of every 3-minute round, and you know you're in shape. Try that sometime. Try for just 2 rounds. See if you can do it just for 2 little bitty rounds. Then you know if you're in shape or not. A lot of times I'll hit the heavy bag when I don't have a sparring partner to work with. A heavy bag tears your muscles down. So of course when you're feeling fatigued, you're training for a fight, you're trying to peak, it's a good idea to lay low in the heavy bag or maybe only work it for a couple rounds. Those of you who are serious about training, give it at least 6 rounds. Okay? And then of course you want to put your kicks into the heavy bag as well.